guys, and welcome back to another episode of Okay, I Said Too Much podcast. It has been a crazy few days since the last time I recorded, and we're going to get all into that when we get into our trending topic, but let's just hop right into my weekly update. First things first, I feel like I never say this on the podcast, but I hope everyone's having an amazing day. I hope everyone's flourishing. I'm having a crap day. Today is Monday and I'm just having a terrible day. And I had an epiphany. No one has more epiphanies than a podcast host. When you talk for a living and you talk through things in your mind, you have so many epiphanies. But I had one today when I was thinking about why I had such a terrible day. I had to take a shot of tequila before this episode. That's how bad it was. And now it's going to my head. One shot of tequila has already gone to my head. That's how you know I've been out of the game for too long and I need the weather to warm up and me to get back into it. But that's not what we're talking about here today. I want to talk about this, and I could make a whole podcast episode about this, but honestly, I don't want to. I want to talk about how you can love your job, but if you've been in a terrible work environment, you have PTSD from it and you have to overcome that. And I think that's why sometimes I feel like I've had a bad day at work when I really haven't had a bad day. It's just me automatically going to the terribleness that I experienced. So right before I left my job in 2022, 2022, we had been dealing with a resident issue for months. Months. And so it all started because this lady's washer and dryer, her washing machine, flooded her apartment. Very minor flood. It leaked into her apartment. Let me say that. And so there are some washer and dryers that are owned by us, and there's some that were owned by a separate company. I'm saying us, but I don't work there anymore. I'm just for story purposes. And so there were other things that were said after the fact that we didn't learn about for a couple weeks when maintenance went to do her apartment to fix her washer and dryer. But it's we thought we would fix it, it would leak again. We thought we would fix it, it would leak again. All these things happen. She tried to get $2,000+ in damages for some fucking towels. It was crazy. And I would say for a month and a half, every single time I went into work, I had a disgusting, nasty email from her. And I was receiving really no help. She eventually got my regional's email address, but even with him being CC'd on emails and me communicating with him almost daily on what was going on, I really was not receiving any help. And this isn't to say that he was bad at his job. It was just it's a resident issue. You're a community manager, fix it. It was so black and white to them. And then a couple weeks in, my maintenance tech, who's a bigger black man, he finally tells me that this resident was the first night her washer and dryer leaked, she wouldn't even let me into her apartment because she was I'm not letting this big black man into my apartment. He was wearing his shirt for the company I worked at. He was wearing the shirt to let her know he was maintenance, and she still didn't let him in her apartment immediately. And I think this was it started when my maintenance supervisor, who is a white man, was out. And then eventually, by the time he came back, a month later, that's when it finally finished. So I feel at that point, as a black community manager, and I have a black maintenance tech working for me, as a white regional manager, a white man, you should be you know what? This woman is clearly very racist because she is. Let me step in and handle this. Cut communication. You don't talk to her. Let me step in and handle this, because clearly it's not going to get resolved with you just handling it. She has problems. This lady, before she even lived in our apartments with our old community manager, got in trouble, got one of our other residents in trouble because she was yelling at kids at our pool. And you're trying to tell me she's not the issue. And so it's just stuff like that. Because when I tell you, every single day, she had an email for me every single day. And I have never been so verbally berated by someone in my life. I have never experienced anything like that in my life. And I am still dealing with those repercussions. So anytime at my now current job, someone is giving me pushback, that I automatically see red. I automatically go into panic mode. I literally had a panic attack in the bathrooms today. And it's so funny because eventually I just, like, sometimes I start crying and I just, like, can't put the cap on it, especially if I'm having a panic attack. I am talking about this now, tearing up, because it's like I can't cap it. Like, once the floodgate starts, like, it's open for the rest of the day. And so I had a panic attack. But I will say, shout out to one of my members who, like, I know he was probably thinking, like, what is wrong with this chick? Because he came up to my desk. My eyes are bloodshot red. When I cry, my nose and my mouth, my lips swell when I cry. So I know he's like, the tip of my nose gets so red. Shout out to my mom because I know that's from her. Like, the tip of my nose gets so red when I cry. And so I know he's looking at me like, what is wrong with this chick? Because this is, like, right after I, like, had a panic attack in the bathroom. Probably looking at me like, what is going on? And he's like, my mom made blueberry lemon scones if you want one. And I'm just like, yes, I do. Thank you so much. And I'm like, I can't get the wrapper off. I can't get... I was struggling so bad because I'm also trying, because in this moment, this man does not realize, like, how much him offering me these blueberry lemon scones is, like, it means so much to me in this moment. And so that's another reason why I'm, like, getting teary-eyed while I'm trying to get the blueberry lemon scone. And also just, like, I don't know what to do with my hands. I don't know how to get this out because I'm just, like, I'm having a moment, okay? And so finally he sees it. He's like, oh, let me take the wrapper off for you. And then I'm like, can I break this one in half? I don't think I could eat the whole thing. But next time I see him again, I'm going to tell him, like, bro, you have no idea how much offering that blueberry scone to me, like, just helped me so much in that moment because I was having a terrible day. Like, thank you so much. Like, I'm definitely gonna tell him that because I know he was looking at me like, why is this girl, her eyes are so bloodshot, her face is red, like, I know he was like, what is wrong with this girl? But yeah, I just have PTSD from these terrible moments I went through when I wasn't supported. I tried to tell my now current regional manager at my new job how much I appreciate him all the time because I was never supported at my last job. Like, I feel like with my last job, their idea of support and what actually is supporting your employees are just two different things. Okay, I can call you and talk to you about this, you can give me guidance, but sometimes I feel like when people, I'm going to talk to all the, like, regional people, if you have employees under you, sometimes your employees need more than just, okay, this is what you need to say to this person. Sometimes your employees need you to step in and be like, send me their email, send me their phone, let me talk to them. If it's causing you that much stress, let me talk to them. And I will say at my current job, when shit hit the fan, like last summer, because we were having internet issues, my regional manager called me and was like, this is before the Starbucks boycott, so he was like, go get a cup of coffee, go to Starbucks, get out of the building, because I'm, like, crying because these people are on Slack dog piling the fuck out of this situation. I'm in this building, tears are streaming down my face. The guy trying to fix the problem is, like, frantically moving around the space trying to get it fixed, and I'm crying. My regional calls me. He was like, get out of the building, take 30 minutes to an hour and get out of the building. Put your phone down, don't look at the messages, I'll handle it, get out of the building, go get you some Starbucks and just calm down. And when I tell you, that's exactly what the fuck I did. That's exactly what I did. And it was in that moment where I was like, if that would have happened to me at my last job, it would have been like, Deidre, why can't you handle this? And it's, of course I can't handle someone dog piling on me every single day. Of course I can't handle it. What do you mean? So if you're a supervisor and you have employees up underneath you, I'm telling you right now, it means so much to them if you just step in and be like, I can help you. I can talk to this person. Like, you can give me the script all day long, but I guess sometimes if you've been in a supervisor role for a very long time, I think people forget how important it is to just be reached out by the supervisor. That means so much. I can say things till I'm blue in my face, but sometimes they just need, I'm using quotes, a person of power in that position to tell them things. And I will even go as far as saying that sometimes when you're a Black woman and it's a certain race of man, nothing you can say can help them, because I think people forget that people still have their underneath biases. So it's like, you can say whatever you need to say to them, but because of their biases that they might not be as aware of, it does not mean shit to them at all. Point blank, period. So I think sometimes people forget that, and supervisors forget that, and then just sometimes just need to step in and be like, I got it, I'll handle it for you. And when I had employees, I would do that shit all the time. Like when I was a community manager and I had my assistant manager and leasing agent, I would step in all the time in points where they felt uncomfortable or they needed guidance. And it's just like, yes, I can handle this, but they will respond better if it's the community manager saying it. So, and I knew that and I understand that, so I would say that. Or when I used to shift lead at a restaurant, I had all the faith in the world in my managers, in my servers and bartenders, but sometimes those people just need a person and a position of power to tell them what they want to hear. So that is my work rant for my weekly update today. So let's just go ahead and get right into our trending topic. If you guys don't know what my trending topic is for this week, then you probably just, one, didn't read the title of the episode, and two, you don't know me very well. I am here to talk about the Nicki Minaj and Meg Thee Stallion beef. Okay, it's been a wild 72 hours. I don't think by the time you listen to this episode, hopefully Nicki Minaj has gone to bed and stopped. So hopefully she's gotten some sleep, maybe ate something, came to her senses, but let's get into it. I don't know exactly where the Nicki and Meg Thee Stallion beef started. A lot of people thinks it comes from the fact that Megan first did the song with Nicki, Hot Girl Summer, and then did the song with Cardi. Nicki and Cardi were beefing, so a lot of people think that's where it comes from. And Meg and Cardi have done multiple songs together now since, so a lot of people think that is the source of the beef. And it's definitely one-sided because Nicki has taken multiple shots at her. What did she say in that one song? But I didn't fuck with horses. I ain't fuck with horses since Christopher Reeves. And then the other one, she says in her most recent album, she says, stay in your Tory lane, I'm not Iggy. Which neither one of those. Okay, the Christopher Reeves bar, hard. I get it. That was perfect. Beautiful play on words. The stay in your Tory lanes, I'm not Iggy. Okay, whatever. And last Friday, Meg released Hiss, and Meg really, like, my favorite thing about Meg is her way to diss someone in the most beautiful, elegant way. Like, she's so smart. First and foremost, she's so smart, and so I think that's where she can write rhymes and write bars that are just like, you have to sit and think about it in a while. And Nicki used to be like that, but Nicki a little rusty. And so she came out with Hiss on Friday, and the line is that got Nicki in a tizzy is, what'd she say? You're not mad at Megan, you're mad at Megan's Law. And if you don't know what Megan's Law is, Megan was created, unfortunately, a little girl was kidnapped. And I think it's because the guy had multiple offenses of harming children in the past, but no one knew that about him. So he was still able to get certain jobs, live certain places. And what happened was the little girl was, in a result, hurt because of that. I have watched plenty of YouTubes and podcasts about Megan's Law, but unfortunately I cannot remember the details right now. I should have looked that up beforehand, but that doesn't matter. So Nicki heard that, and that morning Meg went on the Breakfast Club. She called into the Breakfast Club because they were going to play the song, and she's just, they're like, what's it about, who you talking about? And she was just like, hit dog's gonna holler. If someone got something to say, like, then basically it's about you. The dog has been hollering ever since Friday. Okay, Nicki Minaj started spiraling on Twitter. Is like her main, Twitter and Instagram Live is like her main source of where she like just word vomits on the internet. She's like trying to write a diss record. She's like because she like just, she's so angry she cannot think about what she's gonna say, and she's commenting on TikToks. Friday she commented, okay, so this girl made a TikTok and she was like, the very unfortunate part is that Nicki Minaj does not realize she is Nicki Minaj. And the girl Nicki commented on it and was like, and who are you? Like, the girl was giving you a compliment. She's saying like, you do not realize like how Beyonce get on the internet and don't talk to us. That's what Nicki Minaj should do, because Nicki Minaj is Nicki Minaj, and she does not realize that. So she was basically trying to give her a compliment, like, girl, you done it, you reached it, you did it, get off the internet and shut the hell up. But she doesn't do that. She's already attacked Meg's mom, her dead mom at that. She said so many horrible things. I think where I officially drew the line is when she compared Megan to an ape, because it's like, I'm so tired. Comparing black women to monkeys, black people in general to monkeys, is such a tired ass insult. Please find something else. We get it. She has big feet because she's tall. Like, none of the stuff Nicki is saying is funny. And then she released her diss track last night at 12 a.m. And it was basically her reading her tweets off in the studio. And it's like, girl, we've heard all this. There's no shock value because we've heard all this. And now she's, oh, I have 5 more records lined up where I have all the receipts and because basically Nicki is trying to claim that Megan told her to get an abortion if she was pregnant. This is when they like originally did Hot Girl Summer together, and she was like trying to force liquor down her throat and Nicki wasn't even pregnant at the time. I guess she was trying to get pregnant, and Meg's like, oh, have a drink, blah. Nicki, that is not why you're mad. Because why didn't you just say something then? If that was really what was upsetting you, you could have said something then. You're mad because of her allegiance to Cardi. And you're mad that her and Cardi have built what they have built together, because it's so crazy. Because when Lil' Kim and Nicki had beef, Lil' Kim was basically like, you gotta give me credit. I've paved, me and so many other women rappers have paved the way for you to do what you're doing now. You have to give me credit. And Nicki was like, no, you're my son. Why would I give you credit? And Lil' Kim was like, I'm not your son. What do you fucking mean? I have done so much for women in the rap game. What? Give me my tens. And Nicki's, no, you suck. I'm not giving you your tens. Don't ever talk to me again. Same with Remy Ma. Remy Ma was like, me and Lil' Kim have done a lot, especially for women rappers in New York. You give us the credit we deserve. And again, Nicki was like, no. And now it's so crazy because Nicki does the same thing to women rappers, like her and Doja. So Get Into It by Doja, Nicki was supposed to be on that track, but Nicki basically was like, I'm not. Again, Nicki was looking for some credit and for Doja to give her flowers, and I guess it didn't go the way she wanted to, so she didn't clear her verse. And it's just like, girl, why are you getting mad at the same thing Lil' Kim used to get mad at? It's so crazy. And I have this theory, and I want to talk about it on the podcast because, one, the Barbs, Nicki fans, are out here doxing people. You're not about to dox me, okay? You're not about to find out where I work. You're not about to find my phone number. Hell no. So I'm like, I'm going to hide in my podcast where the Barbs aren't going to find me. But this is my thing. And I think this goes for a lot of women in general. Nicki needs to give Nicki her flowers. Nicki needs to realize that she is Nicki Minaj and she has done a lot of amazing things. Yeah, you've been nominated for 10 Grammys and haven't won any of them. But you still did pave the way for a lot of women rappers. There's so many interviews of people like Lotto, Doja, Meg crediting Nicki. Flo Milli has one. Just like crediting her and giving her tens and her flowers. But then Nicki acts like this because I guess they're not screaming it from the rooftops that Nicki Minaj did what Nicki did so they could be here today. I just feel like at some point, girl, you got to realize who the fuck you are. And on top of that, I also think, if you don't know, Nicki is married to Kenneth. I'm trying to think of his last name. I can't think of it. But she's married to this man and he is a registered sex offender. There's so much debate on it. People like to say the girl that he assaulted was not a minor, but she was. This was like years ago. This was like in 1994. Her brother is in jail right now for sexually assaulting a minor. His stepsister at that, I fucking think, or stepdaughter, something crazy. And Nicki has stood beside both of them. And I think Nicki is finally starting to realize that because of who she's associated with, yes, you've done all these great things for rap. You've done all these things for women rappers. But now there's always going to be an asterisk next to your name. It's always going to be like, Nicki Minaj is great, but. And the but is her bum ass husband. That is the butt of Nicki Minaj's story. And I think she's starting to realize that, and she's spiraling, because at the end of the day, she does love that man. And yeah, she could divorce him, say all the worst things about him in the world, but it's now you got to go on the apologize campaign tour to everyone that you've done wrong because they've said something terrible about your man. She doesn't want to back out and look even dumber than she does now, but she also is realizing sticking around, what's damaging her is sticking around, but it's like, how do you get out of it now? So it's like she knows what's tarnishing her whole legacy. Nicki Minaj's husband is what's ruining Nicki Minaj's legacy as Nicki Minaj. And it's so crazy because, okay, so basically the whole asterisk thing is like when people in sports win awards, but something comes out that they were juicing or something like that, there's like an asterisk by it. Nicki's asterisk is her husband. It's him. And she is spiraling because she knows that, because now whenever someone gets into Nicki, all they have to do is bring up her husband. All they have to do, that's the most easiest, someone said cheap shot you can take at Nicki, because it's like, what do you say after someone's like, your husband's a sex offender, your husband can't drop off your son at school, your husband can't go to basketball, if your child ever gets into sports and he's still on the list, he can't go because he can't be around other kids because he's a sex offender. That is the asterisk next to all of your amazing accomplishments as a woman rapper. And you're spiraling because of that. And it's so crazy because she does love him, and you can say he loves her and they have a great relationship, but he's in the best situation. It's so easy to find a dusty ass woman who's going to stand by an ain't shit man, but to find a dusty ass woman who also has money, stand 10 toes down in the public eye over you, he done hit the jackpot. He not going nowhere, because what, he can't get better than that. Nicki paying legal fees, bailing him out of jail. You're not going to get better than that. So yeah, that's it. You're now looking at all you've created. Kanye West said it best on a song, So Appalled. He said, you either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become a villain. And Nicki Minaj is watching herself become a villain because of the man she decided to lay down and have a kid with and marry. Simple as that. Yeah, that's it for my trending topic today. We'll see where this goes. This is going to come out on Wednesday. We'll see if she releases some mysterious receipts and 5 more diss tracks. If Nicki Minaj releases 5 more diss tracks, y'all, I'm gonna go insane. That's crazy. Hang it up, please. Because that was like when Drake released Charged Up and it didn't hit the way he thought it was gonna hit, so then he released Back to Back. But my thing is, like, you can't top that because he already did the Back to Back. He already did the single cover for Back to Back. Like, you can't top that. How you going, like, Drake already did it. So I don't know. If I was Meg, I would sample. I know TikTok is, she needs to sample 6 foot, 7 foot, because Nicki Minaj keeps shooting at her height, or she needs to put like the beginning of the Law and Order SVU on a track. What she really needs to do is call Mariah Carey up and be like, can I sample Obsessed? Because that would be crazy too. Sample Obsessed. But I will say the Law and Order SVU thing would be crazy too. Like putting it at the beginning of the track and then just like going in. I don't know. But yeah, if Nicki releases 5 more diss tracks, oh my God, your career's over. No one wants to hear it. But let's get right into the meat and potatoes of this week's episode. Every episode, I'm always like, I think this is going to be the longer episode, but then they all come out the same length that they normally are. But I really think this one's going to be a long episode, because what better way after that trending topic than to just end this episode on some Reddit's Am I the Asshole? So let's go ahead and get started with the first one. And I think I have 4, and I think I picked some good ones. So let's go ahead and jump right in. Am I the asshole for telling my sister it's her fault she has nowhere to stay and I won't take her in? So me, 24 male, have a sister who I call Melissa, 37 female. That's how they write it. I don't like that word. Who is a huge fan of Taylor Swift. We have had an okay relationship most of our lives, but nothing too close due to our age differences. Recently, she has been fighting with her husband, Josh, 35 male, about how she spends money carelessly. Her spending has been an issue throughout their marriage. Melissa does not work, but Josh makes around $200K a year. It all came to a head about a week ago when Josh discovered $30K missing from their savings account. According to his brother, Josh snooped on Melissa's transaction history discovered during a supposed trip to see Melissa's friend for a week. She was going to drive down a state and stay with her. Melissa had withdrawn $30K from the savings and spent it on a week in Brazil to see Taylor Swift concert and party by herself. She spent every penny of the $30K and came back like nothing happened. This was back in November, and it was discovered by Josh last week. They had a massive fight, and eventually the police were called and Melissa went to stay in a hotel. Now the money she had in her personal account is almost out, and she showed up outside my house begging to be let in. This is how I heard most of the story, except for how Josh found out. I told her tough shit. She needed to figure this out by herself, and I'm not going to support her due to her past spending issues at home. My parents called me and said I was being an asshole for not housing my sister in her time of need. Am I the asshole? Edit, my parents are very poor and live in a 1-bedroom house in a different state and most likely cannot take her in. My parents are good people in bad times, and if they could take her in, they would. Well, sir, I'm gonna have to say you are not the asshole, because how the fuck did you go to Brazil and spend $30K on Taylor Swift tickets and just spending a week by yourself? I want to know if this woman has kids, because that's insane. To take $30K out of your savings and you have kids, I already know, like, this is so fucked up, but if this woman has kids, like, that elevates the fucked upness even more, because I feel like, especially in these times, anything can fucking happen. If you have $30K in your savings, anything could fucking happen. A kid could get sick, you could get sick, your spouse could lose his job. That is so fucking irresponsible. That is insane. And not even on Renaissance tickets, Taylor Swift tickets. Thumbs down. She needs to get a fucking job and pay that man back the $30K. Personally, that's how I feel. Because if I really wish I knew if they had kids, and I'm gonna assume they most likely do, since she doesn't work and he does, so she's probably a stay-at-home mom. Because that's insane. That is absolutely insane. You never know what can happen nowadays. Your man could lose his job any day of the week, and you're spending $30K and going to Brazil to see Taylor Swift. Boo. Thumbs down. On to the next one. Am I the asshole for insisting that I don't pay bills when I'm on holiday for 3 months? If you're not familiar, people overseas say on holiday. It means like vacation. If you're not familiar. So I am planning on going to my home country for 3 months in May. I, of course, plan on paying rent. I live in a share house with 3 roommates, but we also pay out our own bills: internet, water, gas, electricity. I floated the idea that while I'm overseas, I won't pay bills except internet. Logically, because of my absence, all the bills except internet will be less. I won't be using any electricity, but my close friend and roommate, whom I floated the idea with, shut me down immediately, saying that I should pay the bills even though I'm not here, and it won't even cost that much because we'll be using less electricity in my absence. At first I was like, I get what she's saying, and then I was like reading through comments when I like was picking out these, and people were like, if you lived on your own, you would still have to pay your utilities, even though obviously they would be less. But it's, yeah, if you go on a long trip, you're still gonna have somewhat of like utilities for your house. Like they're gonna, after my previous field, water companies and electric companies are going to find something to charge you for, even if you're not using it. So it's like you would still have your own bills to pay. Like, I get what she's saying, because she's like, oh, for 3 months I'm not going to be using any of that. But at the same time, if this was not discussed when y'all moved in, hey, if we go on like extended trips, especially because it seems like you're the friend that's like from out of town, like, so of course it would come up that you would be like visiting your parents and like going back overseas. I feel like that's a conversation you should have when you moved in or before you moved in, and be like, hey, I know for a fact I'm probably going to take a long trip somewhere. I feel like, how are we going to adjust utilities for while I'm gone? That should have been a previous conversation. I don't think you're an asshole. I just think you're dumb. So yeah, that was so harsh, but it's like, like, you're not an asshole, you're just stupid, because I feel like you knew you would eventually go back home to your parents and go see them, so you knew you would be gone for an extended amount of time. So it's like, why would you not discuss that before moving in with these people? Like, I'm sure if it would have been previous conversations, like if you're springing this on them, this was posted like recently and you're going in May. So I guess you're not springing it on them, but I feel like that's still a conversation that should have been had like previously. That time could come, because now to them it does just feel like it's being sprung on them out of the blue. I don't think it would be difficult on them to just split it between however many people while you're gone. I don't think that's the point. I think it's just like, girl, you should have said something previously. So yeah, I don't think you're an asshole. I just think you're a little slow. So yeah, on to the next one. Am I the asshole for inviting my boyfriend over while house/pet sitting? I have been house/pet sitting for a really good friend of mine that I have known for most of my life. She asked me last minute, and I am not getting paid or expecting anything in return, just doing a favor for a friend. I invited my boyfriend over for dinner and a movie, nothing more. Upon arrival, I received a message from my friend stating her boyfriend was not comfortable with me having my boyfriend over. Am I in the wrong for not asking, or should they have let me know the house rules in advance? I figured it was okay, as they did not tell me otherwise. I feel terrible, and if I would have known, I obviously would not have had my boyfriend over. Two things here. You should have asked, but they also should have told you. If this is your really good friend, she knows you have a boyfriend. Like, okay, so majority of my friends, 2 out of 3, have men in their lives. If I had a home and I had asked one of them to house sit or pet sit, I would automatically assume, especially they would be like, this is so far stretched because like none of us are in this situation, but I would automatically assume that if they were house sitting in a way of like, you're clearly staying there for an extended period of time, I would probably assume, hey, they're probably gonna want their man to come over at some point. So I'm gonna have a conversation with them like, hey, he can come over, that's cool, that's fine, y'all can hang out. Don't get him out of motherfucking bed together. That's wild. Number one, that's wild. But he can come over and hang out. That's cool. Fine and dandy. I don't care. Just don't be in my bed. So I would, of course, say something. But also, why would you not fucking ask? That's also really weird, too. Like, why would you not ask if your boyfriend can come over to her house while she's away? And I do think it's a cop-out. I think she felt uncomfortable with it, and she's using her boyfriend to say, oh, my boyfriend feels uncomfortable with it, because if it's her house, what the hell does he have to do with this in this equation? Like, he didn't ask you to house sit, she did. So I think that is a cop-out that she's using. But girl, why did you not ask? That is weird. That's weirder than the whole situation, because I would never think to have to, one, be in a home that's not mine. It's not your house. Even if you had a friend come over that was another girl, you should have asked her, because it's not your house. Yeah, on to the next one. Am I the asshole for wanting my friend to stop asking me if she's gained weight or is fat? My close friend, 23 female, is deeply afflicted with body image issues and insecurities concerning her weight. Just to be clear, she is not fat by any means. I would never describe her as overweight or unhealthy looking. However, she is bigger boned. Oh my God. And the fact that the frame of her body is larger than she would like, but she is very fit nonetheless. That doesn't matter though, because she is obsessed with obtaining a body that is simply genetically incapable with hers, unless perhaps she starved herself. It is really sad to see, but she continuously uses myself and other close friends of ours as a sounding board for these issues, and constantly, at least once on a daily basis, if we are having a conversation, ask if she has gained weight or if she is fat. The other thing about her that is relevant is that she lacks complete sense of self-awareness. So not only does she not realize how uncomfortable this question would make someone, she does not want a genuine answer. She just wants to be told she is thin. I have tried everything. I have poured myself into giving her validation, support, research, etc. I have multiple times suggested therapy. I have tried to level with her. None of it works. While I love her very much, I'm reaching a point where I simply cannot hear about it anymore, and have begun almost evading the question, am I fat entirely because I'm at capacity? There's no correct answer, and honestly, it ruins our time together when she's so consumed by these thoughts. Am I the asshole for wanting her to stop asking me if she is fat? No, you are not. Drop her like hot potatoes. I'm just kidding. I truly don't think this person's the asshole, but what I will say is, and this is something I have had to also work on myself a lot, no one wants to hear that shit. No one wants to hear that shit. It is so, it's a mood kill. Even if it's not like, oh, I'm fat, but as someone who struggles with my own insecurities, I have had to take myself outside looking in and realize nobody wants to hear that shit. No one wants to hear you day in and day out complain about how you look, about how you feel, about how you look. At some point, you just have to cut it out. At some point, you just got to get over it. At some point, like she said, you need to go to therapy and get help. Now, it's one thing if, okay, like me and my friend will like bounce shit. We're in the same boat, so we be bouncing shit off of each other. That's different. But when you are, I feel like I'm about to shake the table. If you are that insecure friend who just constantly trauma dumps your insecurities on other people, you need to get help, because no one wants to hear that shit. Like, I'm older than these people. She's so young. So it's like, it's at some point, it's either fix it or shut the fuck up. Because I feel like if you are putting your friends in an uncomfortable situation, then girl, go to therapy, seek help. BetterHelp is an online therapy service. It's just, yeah, no one wants to hear it. No, you're not the asshole. Honestly, I would probably stop being friends with that person if that was happening to me. Yeah, you're not the asshole. On to the last one, guys. Okay, this one is a doozy. That's why I saved it for last. I remember now. Okay. Am I the asshole? Boyfriend is hiding things from me. So, me and my significant other have been together for a little over a year now. He moved in with me about 6 months ago. After moving out, I assured he would turn off all his bills that were his, considering his ex is the one who still lives in the house. They were roommates before moving in with me. Anyways, he hasn't turned off any bills. The internet and the gas are still in his name, and I have no idea why. I have also asked him nicely several times to get them switched off. And now the gas bill's up to $1,300, and she's been sending him money every month for the internet. Just feels so fishy to me. I can't help but shake this weird feeling. But I found out he paid $300 on the bill yesterday, which he was supposed to get financial assistance with and didn't, because he constantly forgets to call and constantly makes others. But he tried to hide the fact that he spent the $300 because I'm controlling and he's scared of me. I told y'all this is a good one. I have reminded him for over 8 months nonstop to take care of this bill and to cut this ties with his ex, because he says they're not friends. So why do all of this for someone who's, 1, not your friend, 2, is your ex? Disclosure: I'm slightly controlling and bossy, but if not, nothing gets done. So am I the asshole for being mad, or is he the asshole for dragging his feet? You're not an asshole. You're a dumb bitch. Okay? If you do not take a step back and see the forest for the trees, girl, y'all moved in 6 months ago, but y'all been dating for a year. So that means he was living with his ex for 6 months while y'all were dating. That relationship ended when yours started, and there might have been some overlap. Honestly, if I had to give you my whole heart opinion, there's probably some overlap. He don't want to stick her with them bills because he feels shitty, because he feels bad. He did her dirty, and he don't want to tell you that. Okay, boo, you got yourself an ain't shit man. Okay, y'all would have told me the age, because why does a grown man need to drag his feet on paying a $1,300 bill or getting assistance for a $1,300 bill? Girl, wake up and leave that man in the dust. What are you saying? It's so crazy to me that I don't know when these people met. I don't have that information. But I would never start dating a man while he's living with his ex. No. That's so crazy. That is so crazy to me. I've had a friend do that. That's so crazy to me. Why would you date a man who's living with his ex? Because I feel like, yes, in a perfect world, and there's lots of scenarios where this goes well, when y'all move out together, there's just so much tied up with living with someone. And this man obviously does not want to stick this girl with these bills because he knows he fucked up, okay? And honestly, if you had to control him and boss him around, why do you want to be with a man you got to control and boss around? I don't understand why y'all want to date grown children. I don't understand why y'all want to date grown children. I don't see the appeal. If a man cannot take care of himself, and this is where I be getting on that alpha male bullshit that be pissing me off, because being a man is being able to run a household. A part of running a household is making sure your bills are paid. Another part of your household is all the extra shit you got to do. And obviously, because you controlling and bossy, he don't be doing the extra shit either. So why do you still want to be with a grown child? It don't make sense. You're not an asshole. You're just a dumb bitch, okay? And your man is probably an asshole to his ex, and that's why he's still trying to pay these bills with her. So yeah, his name's probably still on the lease, baby. Yo, I don't know why that doesn't click in women's heads. That should be suspicious. But yeah, no. You have bigger fish to fry than your relationship than a $1,300 gas bill. Why is the gas bill $1,300 anyway? And like, I don't know. I don't know. Because too, if this is why it's fishy to me, okay? I had to take a minute to get my thoughts together because I was so frazzled by this. Is why it's fishy to me. If you guys have been together for a year, moved in 6 months, okay? There were 6 months of y'all's relationship that he knew long term he was not going to continue living with this person because they had broken up and he was in a new relationship. He had 6 months to get his shit together. He had 6 months to figure out bills, how they were going to go, to tell this person, hey, I'm going to be moving out. I'm not staying here staying here with you forever. We're broken up. I have a new girlfriend. He had 6 months. 6 months to prepare for that. The ex and / ex roommate also had 6 months to prepare for that, and they still in a sticky situation. They were honestly probably fucking too through that 6 months, but that's a story for a different day. If a man had 6 months to get some shit together and get some act right and he still didn't do it, that is not a man you want to be with. Point blank, period. Simple as that. And that is it for the Am I the Asshole section of this podcast. We're going to go ahead and get right into our song of the week. Y'all are probably thinking that his is going to be my song of the week this week. And surprise, it's not. One of my favorite woman rappers sounds so weird, but like I can't justify saying female rappers because they're not less than a man. But one of my favorite, a complete side note, y'all. I'm telling you, that one shot of tequila just went to my head. And so speaking of one shot tequila, Mana Leo just released, and I had been waiting on this song because she has teased it on TikTok. She just released her song, Don Who Leo. So like DON space AWHO space. I don't know why I had so much trouble spelling those 3 words, but I did. And if you have issues with it, you know exactly where to find all the songs of the week on my podcast playlist on Spotify and Apple Music. You just search ISTM podcast and you can find all the songs of the week on Spotify and Apple Music. She just released a song and it just made me, I was talking why can't I speak? Oh my God. I was talking with my sister about how I just miss summertime, and I'm usually never like that. I'm such a cold weather winter person, but once she released this song, I was like, I need summertime right now. She said get out the Don Julio and at the Fulio. That's exactly what I want to do. That is exactly what I miss doing. So yeah, that's our song of the week for this week. His was good, and I felt like it would have been perfect to do that as a song of the week, but then that would have been too predictable. So yeah, let me go ahead and tell you where to find me. So istm.podcast for Instagram, or you can search my name for my personal social media accounts. Also, don't forget to rate and review the podcast. I know some people listen to the podcast on Spotify, and you can rate it on Spotify, but you can't leave a review. If you love me, go to Apple Podcasts and leave a review. That helps my podcast get pushed to more people. And the more people it gets pushed to, I'm trying to not be working by 2025, guys, okay? So please go to Apple Podcasts and review and leave a nice comment and talk about how much you love me and how my podcast is so amazing. Because you know what? I love you guys. And I will see you next week.